and I also go by the Empress here on YouTube. I'm just reading stories from the Bible, okay? I'm not going deep into scriptures and things like that, unless I'm called to. But we're going to pick up where I left off. Samson and the lion, Judges 13 through 14. For 40 years, the children of Israel had suffered at the hands of the Philistines, a fierce enemy from the lands near the sea. Then an angel appeared to an Israelite couple who had long been childless. You will have a son who will win a great victory over the Philistines, the angel told them, but you must be careful never to cut his hair. The angel then warned the woman, while you are carrying the child, you must not touch wine or any strong drink, for your son will be a Nazarite, and his life will be dedicated to God. The child was called Samson, and he grew tall and strong. One day Samson said to his father, "Father, I have seen a beautiful Philistine woman at Timnah, and I want her for my wife." His parents were unhappy that he had chosen a Philistine. "There are many Hebrew women who would make you a good wife. Will you not look among them first?" But when they saw that Samson was determined, they did not stand in his way. Samson and his parents went to Timnah, and as they walked through the vineyards, a young lion leapt out at them. As easily as if he were swatting a fly, Samson killed it, tearing it apart with his hands. Then he went to the woman's house, and they talked together, and she delighted Samson. It was not long before he asked her to marry him. A little later, he saw in the lion's carcass a honeycomb covered in bees. This he scooped out and ate as he walked, with no thought of being stung. He gave some to his parents, but did not say how he had come by it. To celebrate his wedding, he invited 30 of his wife's friends to a feast, which was to last 7 days, for this was the custom of the country. On the first day, he put a riddle to his guests, promising rich rewards to anyone who could answer it. Out of the eater comes meat, out of the strong comes sweet. What does this mean? No one could guess. For 3 days, they puzzled over it. Finally, one of the Philistines went to Samson's wife. "You must make your husband tell you the answer, or we will burn your house to the ground." Over a riddle? Very frightened, Samson's wife went to him weeping. "How can you say you love me if you will not tell me the solution to your riddle? Is it not much to ask?" I'm sorry. First of all, this used to be one of my Sunday school students' favorite stories. For one. For two, I'm laughing at how petty this is. If you don't tell us the answer to this riddle, we go burn your house down. Is it really that serious? And then she done went to Samson, talk about how you go say you love me, but you won't tell me the answer to the riddle. It was just a riddle. But at any rate, "I shall tell nobody," said Samson, "not even you." But his wife coaxed and cried until on the 7th day he told her. At once she ran to her friends with the news, and when that evening Samson again put the riddle, one of them stood up. "I can answer that," he shouted. "There is nothing sweeter than honey. There is nothing stronger than a lion." Samson realized he had been tricked and was very angry. In his rage, he killed 30 Philistines. Then returned to his father's house and never saw his wife again. Judges 16. Samson and Delilah. This song, that definitely made me think about that song by the Plain White Tees. Hey, you guys, what are you doing watching me? What are y'all doing watching me? Judges 16, Samson and Delilah. So time passed, and Samson fell in love with a woman called Delilah. The Philistine lords went to Delilah and told her she must uncover the secret of Samson's great strength. "Find out how we may take him prisoner, and each one of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver." When Delilah was alone with Samson, she questioned him prettily. "Tell me, what is the secret of your strength? And how could you be made captive? If I were bound with 7 new bowstrings, then I should be helpless as a child, Samson replied. As if in play, Delilah then tied him fast with 7 bowstrings given her by the Philistines, who were lying in wait in the next room. The Philistines are upon us, she cried, but Samson snapped the strings as easily as if they had been frail threads. Why did you not tell me the truth? Delilah asked crossly. The truth, said Samson. The truth is that I can be held only by ropes that have never been used. As before, Delilah bound him fast, and as before, the Philistines burst in upon them, only to see Samson break the ropes as easily as if they had been spun out of spider webs. The third time Delilah put her question, Samson told her that if she wove his long hair into the fabric of her loom, then he would be weak. But again, when the Philistines tried to lay hands on him, he broke away effortlessly. How can you say you loved me, sobbed Delilah, when you tell me nothing but lies? This bitch just set him up 3 times. She just set him up 3 times and had the nerve to say this. And she needled and nagged him until at last Samson, sick to death of her pestering, told his secret. If my hair is cut, then my strength is gone. He fell asleep, exhausted, on her lap. And while he slept, Delilah signaled to one of the Philistines who crept in and cut off the strong man's hair. Samson, the Philistines are upon us, she cried. And Samson, not knowing his strength had left him, jumped to his feet, but at once was overpowered. I wouldn't have told her shit. His captors blinded him and took him to Gaza, where he was thrown into prison. Their brass shackles were locked around his ankles, and he was put to work grinding wheat. But slowly his hair began to grow. Next up, Judges 16, Samson in the temple. The Philistines were in the temple celebrating and offering sacrifices to their god, Dagon. They delivered the enemy into our hands, they chanted. As the singing and dancing became louder and wilder, there were shouts for Samson. Bring him out. Let us see the Israelite champion. Where is his strength now? The blind prisoner was led into the temple and put to stand between the pillars of the doorway so that everyone could see him. The crowd grew from hundreds to thousands, all of them laughing and jeering at Samson's helplessness. "O Lord God, give me my strength once more," Samson silently entreated. Bracing his hands against the pillar on either side of him, Samson pushed with all his might. There was a noise as though the earth were cracking open, and suddenly the temple, roof and walls, crashed to the ground, killing everyone inside it, including Samson. So, in dying, Samson won a final victory over the Philistines. Ruth and Naomi. Ruth 1 through 4. For many years, the widow Naomi had made her home in Moab. Her husband had died there, and so had her 2 sons. Their wives, Orpah and Ruth, lived with her. During a time of famine, Naomi decided to return to her own country, to Bethlehem. "We will come with you," said her daughters-in-law. "No," said Naomi, "your place is not with me, an old woman. You must stay in Moab where you belong." Ultimately, the story about Ruth and Naomi is about friendship, you guys. Orpah was content with this, but Ruth loved Naomi and would not be parted from her. "Where you go, there shall I follow," she said. "Your home shall be mine, your people my people, your God my God." And so Ruth and Naomi journeyed together to Bethlehem. They arrived at harvest time, and Ruth went into the fields to gather the leftover barley. Boaz, a cousin of Naomi's, who owned the fields, noticed the young woman and asked who she was. He was touched to hear about her kindness to Naomi and went over to her. Come and eat with us. You are safe here with my people. That evening, Naomi told Ruth to return to Boaz. Wait until he has fallen asleep, then go quietly and lie down beside him. As soon as she saw that Boaz slept, Ruth lay down at his feet. In the middle of the night, he woke with a start and saw the form of a woman in the darkness. Who are you? I am Ruth, and I have come to ask for your protection. There is someone closer to you in the family than I, but if he does not wish to look after you and Naomi, then I shall take care of you. And so it turned out. Ruth and Boaz were married, and Ruth gave birth to a son who brought great happiness to Naomi in her old age. That's why some females out here talking about they Ruth and looking for they Boaz. Technically, Boaz was her ex-husband who died cousin, though. At anywho, Samuel is called to serve God. 1 Samuel verses 1 through 3. Hannah was one of the two wives of Elkanah. Peninnah had children, but even though Elkanah loved her, Hannah had none. Every year they went to pray at Shiloh, where the Ark of the Covenant was kept, and every year Peninnah would mock Hannah because she had no children. Well, that's not nice. One night, Hannah went to the temple and prayed to God. Lord, please send me a son, and I promise to devote his life to your service. Eli, the high priest, watched her praying. Then he blessed her as she left. May God grant your wish, he said. In due course, Hannah gave birth to a son, whom she called Samuel. Hannah nursed the child, then not forgetting her promise to God, she took Samuel to the temple and gave him to Eli to look after. Every year when she came with her husband to pray at Shiloh, Hannah brought with her a little coat for Samuel. Eli cared for him lovingly and brought him up to obey God's word. The child grew as straight and true as Eli's own two sons were dishonest and sly. Manifestation portal. I wouldn't know the answer to that. One night, Samuel was awakened by a voice calling his name. Here I am, he said, and jumping from his bed, ran to see what Eli wanted. I did not call you, said the old man. Go back to bed. But in a short while, the boy heard the voice again. Samuel, Samuel. And again he went in to Eli, but the priest assured him that he had not spoken. The third time Samuel heard the voice, Eli told him that it must be the voice of God. 1 Samuel, Bobby. So Samuel lay down in the dark and waited. Samuel, Samuel. Lord, the child replied, I am your servant and ready to listen. The sons of Eli are evil men. You must tell their father that they cannot serve as priests or be pardoned for their wickedness. You're welcome. The next morning, Samuel told Eli what God had said. So be it, said Eli. It is the word of the Lord. First Samuel 4 through 6. The ark is captured. Oh my gosh. The Israelites, badly defeated in battle by the Philistines, decided to fetch the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh. When the ark was near, they believed that God was with them and would save them from their enemies. The ark was carried into the camp, and a great shout went up, a shout that struck fear into the hearts of the Philistines. The Israelite God is a terrible God, they said to one another. We must fight with all our strength not to be overcome. So, oh my gosh. Watch something else. I don't want to hear Mickey Mouse Clubhouse right now. No, turn to something else. Turn to something else, please. 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 I don't want to see Mickey Mouse as a human. Please, turn. We must fight with all our strength not to be overcome. And again, the Philistines fought and defeated the people of Israel, and then they seized the ark. A man from the tribe of Benjamin fled from the battle and went to Shiloh, where he found Eli, the old priest. What has happened, my son? Asked Eli. The Philistines have defeated us. We have suffered heavy losses, and the Philistines have taken the ark. When Eli heard that the Ark of the Covenant, which he had watched over for so many years, had been captured, his heart stopped and he fell to the ground dead. The Philistines took the ark to Ashdod and put it in the temple of Dagon beside a statue of their god. The next morning, the statue of Dagon was found lying on the ground in front of the ark. Puzzled, the priest set the golden image upright, but the following day, Dagon was found again on the ground with his head in both hands broken off. If y'all don't know about Dagon, Dagon was the chief god of the Philistines. He was a god of grain and fertility, and he sometimes is represented as part fish and part man. Soon afterward, the Philistines were struck by a plague of boils, and their land was overrun with rats. We must send the ark back with a peace offering, they decided. They laid the ark on a cart, and beside it they placed a casket of gold. They wanted to see how powerful the God of the Israelites was, so they put untrained cows between the shafts, and without a driver, the cows pulled the cart straight down the road. Some Israelites were harvesting wheat in the fields when they looked up and saw the cart approaching. Overjoyed, they ran to it and gently lifted the sacred chest to the ground. A burnt sacrifice was made, and they thanked God that the ark was safely in their hands once more. 1 Samuel 8 through 10, Saul, the first king of the Israelites. Samuel grew old, and the people asked him to appoint a king to rule over them. Samuel asked God, what should he do? I don't have my anchoring on right now. There is a man called Saul, the tribe of Benjamin, and he is the one you must choose. He will make himself known to you. I'm seeing who really wants to be in my aura that bad and who pays attention to me that much. So Samuel grew old, and the people asked him to appoint a king to rule over them. Samuel asked God what he should do. Well, it depends, because I'm not reading scriptures and Bible verses. I'm reading the actual stories, like basically the interpretation of scriptures of the books. So I'm just reading the stories. I'm slick recording them on YouTube so that way some children can come back to these videos later. I'm just going to block you, woman of truth. I thought so. I knew it was one coming. I was waiting on her. I knew it was one waiting on her. But as far as like reading books in the Bible, I read other books than the Bible when it comes to spiritual nourishment. I read regular books and then just ask for whatever type of knowledge I need from it or wisdom from it that you know is received. So Samuel asked God what he should do. There is a man called Saul of the tribe of Benjamin, and he is the one you must choose. He will make himself known to you. Shortly afterward, a tall young man came up to Samuel on a hill outside the city. I have lost 3 of my donkeys, he said. I know you are a prophet. Can you tell me where they are? Your donkeys are safe, Samuel replied. Now come with me, for you are to be the first king of Israel. Saul was astonished. "But I am unimportant," he exclaimed. "I am of the tribe of Benjamin, the smallest of all the tribes of Israel, and my family is the least important family in the tribe." Samuel reassured him and led the astonished Saul back to his house, where he gave him food and then anointed him with oil, pouring it over his head. "With this oil," he said, "I declare you king. Now you must return home. On your way, you will see two men who will tell you your donkeys are found. Next, you will meet three men, the first leading three young goats, the second carrying 3 loaves of bread, the third a bottle of wine. They will give you 2 of their loaves. Lastly, you will come across a group of prophets making music and singing praises to God, and you will join with them." Everything happened exactly as predicted, after which Samuel called the children of Israel together. "I am here to show you your king," he told them. "Where is Saul of the tribe of Benjamin?" But Saul, overwhelmed, was hiding among some baggage. He was soon found, however, and brought before Samuel, where he stood head and shoulders taller than any man done. "So here is your ruler," said Samuel, "the man God has chosen to be your king." And the people shouted, "Long live the king." Afterward, Samuel wrote down the rules of kingship, dedicating his account to God. Then he told all the children, men and women, to return to their homes. The next story is 1 Samuel 11 and 13, which is Saul's downfall. The city of Jabesh was under siege by the Ammonites, who agreed to make peace on one condition: that the right eye of every citizen should be put out. The people were appalled. They wept and wailed, but not one of them could think of a way to avoid this cruel punishment. Toward evening, Saul came in from the fields, driving a herd of oxen before him. He was astonished to find the entire population in a state of terror. "What is the matter?" he asked. "What has happened?" When he heard what the enemy was threatening to do, Saul was full of anger. Immediately, he summoned his army together. He sent messengers to the people of Jabesh, promising that the very next day, by the time the sun was at its highest, they would be safe. The Israelites attacked the Ammonites early the next morning. By midday, they had either slain or put to flight every one of them. Saul and his people were overjoyed and celebrated their victory with sacrifices to the Lord. 2 years after Saul had become king, the Philistines gathered on the Israelites' border in enormous numbers, preparing for invasion. Two years after Saul had become the king, the Philistines gathered on the Israelites' border in enormous numbers, preparing for invasion. Samuel told Saul to wait for 7 days, at the end of which he would come and make the burnt offering before the battle. But at the end of 7 days, there was no sign of Samuel, and Saul grew impatient. He decided to wait no longer, but to light the fire himself. Suddenly, he found Samuel by his side. "Why have you disobeyed me?" Samuel asked. "Because you did not come and my men were scattered. The Philistines may attack at any moment. I was afraid that if I did not make a burnt offering to the Lord, we would be defeated." "You have done wrong to disregard God's commandment," Samuel reproached him. If you had obeyed God's word, you would have been the founder of a great kingdom. But because you went against his word, your sons will now never succeed you. Another family, not yours, will rule Israel. All because he got impatient, pretty much. See what impatience does? It gets you jacked up and your family. 1 Samuel 16, God chooses David. God spoke to Samuel, telling him to go to Bethlehem, where he will find a man called Jesse. I have chosen one of the sons of Jesse to be the next king, he said. In Bethlehem, the news of Samuel's arrival made the people tremble, for he was now a great and powerful man, but Samuel reassured them, I come in peace to bless you and pray with you. One by one, 7 of Jesse's sons came to the prophet to be blessed. When Samuel saw the men standing before him tall and handsome, he thought to himself, surely one of these must be the chosen one. But as each of the brothers came before him in turn, he heard the Lord's voice. This is not the man. God does not judge in the way people do. You hear that, woman of truth? God does not judge people the way people do. Okay? Do not look at the face, but into the heart. You hear that, woman of truth? Do not look at my face, but in the heart. So finally, Samuel turned to Jesse and said, God has chosen none of these men. Are all your children here? All but the youngest, David, and he is out in the fields looking after the sheep. Fetch him, said Samuel. The boy, fresh-faced and strongly built, came running in. This is he, said God. Then Samuel took the holy oil and anointed David in front of his whole family. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord was with him. Next up is 1 Samuel 17, David and Goliath. The Philistines were ready for battle. On 2 hilltops, with only a narrow valley between, the armies were assembled, the Philistines on one, Saul and the Israelites on the other. All of a sudden, a giant man came striding down toward the valley from the Philistine camp. Goliath of Gath towered above everyone. On his head, what's up? Your daddy can't see you till he pay child support, because I'm a bitter baby mama. What you want? What you want? What you want? Pause. Pause. What you want? Huh? I'm not about to watch this because I'm reading a book on my YouTube. So I'm not about to watch that with you right now. Talk about some ouch, ouch, what should I do? At any rate, so Goliath of Gath towered above everyone. On his head was a massive bronze helmet. He wore a breastplate of bronze, and his legs and arms were sheathed in bronze. In one hand, he carried a bronze dagger, in the other, an iron-headed spear as big as a tree. I challenge you, Saul, bellowed Goliath. I challenge you to send one of your men to fight me. Let the 2 of us decide the outcome of the war. At these words, Saul trembled, and the Israelites were filled with fear. 3 of Jesse's sons were among Saul's soldiers, and their brother David had left his sheep to bring them food. As he reached the camp, he heard Goliath's boastful challenge and saw that no one dared answer it. I'll fight the giant, he said to Saul, but you are only a boy. Goliath is a famous man of war. Eventually, however, Saul was persuaded. Refusing both weapons and armor, David went to a nearby stream and picked out 5 smooth pebbles, which he put in his shepherd's pouch. Then, with his sling in one hand, his staff in the other, he walked toward Goliath. Get out of my way, boy, the champion shouted, his voice heavy with contempt. I do not fight with children. You come to me with a dagger and a spear, but I come to you with God on my side, said David. He put down his staff and placed a pebble in his sling. No, my baby daddy don't know these stories of the Bible. He just got a biblical name. Ask his mama. Now, whirling it. Girl, you were judging me. You were judging me. You're not trying to save me from nothing. Jesus already died for my sins. You don't care about me, woman of truth. You are somebody that's trolling and wants me to get upset. I want you to tell my baby daddy he can't see her in person until he got some money. I need some money. Why are y'all on my YouTube channel at 9 o'clock in the morning with this? You don't even know me.